This video will be a review of the classwork practice for lesson 1.2, which was done in GoFormative. As you watch this, make sure that you're making notes, logging what you got right, what you got wrong, and then making corrections within GoFormative. So the first question was, consider the function f of x equals 3x, write a new function g of x that will translate f up 5 units. So what we want to notice there is that we want to go up 5 units, and this would entail adding 5 to the outside of the function. And so all we need to do is just add 5. I have it set in formative that it'll accept g of x, it'll accept y, it'll accept different variations on that as long as you are writing a function. Make sure it has an equal sign in it, and make sure that you're translating it up by going up 5. Second one is multiple choice. It says, consider the function f of x equals the absolute value of x minus 3. And we want to write a new function that will translate this 4 units to the right. This one is multiple choice. So you need to look at the original function and then think, what is the transformation that will make this go 4 units to the right? Well, it's the inside number that controls the left and the right, and an absolute value inside is inside the absolute value. And then to make it go right, we actually do the opposite of what we would expect to do. To make it go right, we actually subtract 4. And so what we're looking for is we're looking for a minus 4 to make it go to the right, and we're looking for a minus 4 on the inside. So you'll notice down here we do have a minus 4, but that minus 4 is in the wrong location. This would actually make it go down. We're looking for the one that will make it go right. Now, in formative, I believe these answer choices are shuffled. So make sure that you're not just going back and picking the first answer choice in yours, because yours might have the correct answer choice somewhere else. So just be cautious of that. The next one is consider the function f of x equals 1/2 x plus 1. And it says write a new equation that reflects f over the x-axis. Show the work for how you arrived at your answer in the space provided. You may type, draw, or upload a photograph from your notebook. So I obviously had played around with this in one of the classes, but I'll write it out. I think, actually, I might type it. We might do some typing. And I think I'll change the color to make it a little bit easier to see. We'll change it over to purple. All right, so we're starting with the function f of x, and we want g of x to be a reflection over the x-axis. So to do that, we're going to take f of x and make f of x negative. So we're going to take negative, and now I need to plug in whatever f of x is. So f of x is 1/2 x plus 1. And just don't forget that you do want the parentheses there because it's the entire function. That would be negative. And then we will go ahead and distribute that negative. So we'll have negative 1/2 x, and then negative 1 times 1 would give us negative 1. And so that would be your final answer. Okay, so that's a 3-step problem to get the new function. And then we click check, and then you can see that your work appears right there. Consider the function, question 4, consider the function f of x equals the absolute value of x minus 3. You are to write a new function g of x that compresses the graph using a factor of 1/3. Order the steps so that they show the correct work. You can actually look above or look in your notebook to kind of get a sense of what those steps should look like. It's not a straight copy. You do need to be able to interpret the steps and recognize that they'll look different in different problems depending on what the actual problem is. But the first thing that we want to do is set up what are we trying to do? So g of x should be 1/3 of f of x. And so that should be our first step. So I'll put that first. Now we need to go back and consider what is f of x. So f of x is the absolute value of x minus 3. So what am I taking 1/3 of? The absolute value of x minus 3. Okay, so what we did here was we replaced the f of x with the absolute value of x minus 3. Then we need to distribute. Now, I actually did this in 2 steps. So we take the 1/3, we're going to multiply the 1/3 by the absolute value of x, and then we're going to do 1/3 times 3, which is this step down here. And then the last step here is just 1/3 times 3 is 1. Okay, so we're just doing that work. Remember that your steps should order from top to bottom. You should always be working from top to bottom, not left to right. And every step follows from the step that comes above it. And so if you're thinking to yourself, well, where did this absolute value of x minus 3 come from? Well, look right above it, and it came from the f of x, and we know that f of x is equal to the absolute value of x minus 3. If you're wondering, oh, where did the 1 come from? Look one step above it, and the 1 came from 1/3 times 3. Okay, and so you should be able to trace the steps from top to bottom if your work is ordered the right way. Question 5, graph the line y equals 2x plus 3, and then graph the line that is the reflection over the x-axis. And it does give you some tools here. This is a brand new tool for formative, having you graph stuff, so I wasn't really sure how this would go. So graphing the line y equals 2x plus 3, the y-intercept is 3, so I'm going to come down here and plot the y-intercept. I think it'll let me do that at 0, 3. I don't know why it highlighted the whole thing. And then I don't want that there. I want the slope of 2. So to get the slope of 2, I'm going to start here and go up 2. So I'm going to go up to 5 and then over 1. And that will put me at the point 1, 5. So remember your rise over run. I'm going to go up 2 over 5, and that's from using the slope of 2 over 1. Now to do the second graph, I need to click graph 2. We'll do this in a different color. And remember that reflections have the same point on the opposite side of the line. So this point right here is going to reflect down to the -3. And this point right here, we're just going to go straight down, and that's going to go down to the -5. So there should be a mirror image on the other side. So I'll go ahead and put my point there. And you could also do the down 2 over 1. Let me see if I can get that. That's fine. Okay, I just kind of put that anywhere so I could see it. There we go. Okay, and I'm going to click off of that. I'd like to click off of that just to be able to see it. Yeah, that looks right. And one way you can check it is where it crosses the x-axis. Since this is a reflection over the x-axis, then a point on the x-axis would reflect onto itself. And so they should cross at the same point. Okay, so that's your mirror image, and that's using the definition of what it means to reflect. Question 6, given a function f of x, choose all the transformations represented in the expression negative f of x minus 1. Well, a negative out in front is a reflection over the x-axis, and subtracting 1 in the inside will make it go to the right 1. And so you want to check off all of what that might be. And then question 7, and yours might not be in the same order, so I want to just illustrate that. I think I set this so that yours would be scrambled, so you can't just, you have to be paying attention to what I'm explaining so that you can get it right. And then this one here, multiplying by a factor of 2 is going to stretch the graph, and then adding 5 to the outside will shift it up 5. Okay, and then it says I have responded to 7 of 7 questions. Would I like to submit those responses? Your responses have been submitted, and it's yelling at me for some reason. This is no longer editable. I don't know what that even means. So I'll make sure I have the settings on this so that you guys can go back in and fix any mistakes that you made, and hopefully this will clarify any questions that you have about the classwork.